So I just got done with a hangout from TrueEmpiricism, aka Rocket Ronnie, our dear friend. And yes, I realized I made a mistake, and I realized it almost as soon as I said it that DNA does in fact obviously dissolve in water. It doesn't degrade in water is what I meant to say, because he was asserting that DNA actually breaks into its constituent parts, has the sugar, the phosphate, the nitrogenous bases, and it just kind of falls apart in water because he kept on saying that it would degrade in water. That's not the same as dissolving in water, which of course it does. So I realized I made a mistake there, but so before anybody jumps on my crap for that, yes, I made an error, but I was trying to actually say what I could possibly get out because, as you noticed, True loves to mute, lower their volume, and boot, and that's what he did consistently. That's what he does in his moderated rooms. I can safely say I don't remember a single time I've ever lowered anybody's volume unless, well, actually, I don't think that I really ever have. And for any particular reason, like, what he was doing. Yes, I have kicked people from the room, but very, very rarely. There's only a handful of people that I'll kick for various reasons because they just don't add anything to the conversation. It's just like Christian Hillbilly every so often. I've kicked him. But other than that, anybody's welcome to my hangouts. I want dialogue and I want people to engage. And if you noticed, Johnny, KCJ or JCK or KFC or whatever the friggin' name is, he was the only one that actually asked a legitimate question that I think people actually wanted an answer to because TrueEmpiricism didn't know how to answer it. He didn't understand the difference between a monophyletic and a paraphyletic clade. That what Johnny was asking is, when do we decide when something in cladistics is not in that monophyletic clade? It says like fish is a paraphyletic clade, as I described, and how it excludes tetrapods. We all know this. This isn't something that, is exclusive to a handful of people. Everybody in the community kind of understands basic cladistics. In that hangout, though, I mean, if you guys didn't know what was happening in the side chat, obviously, they were actually getting down on True. They thought it was very disrespectful that he kept using my father's name, even though I asked him not to. And of course, yeah, I'm a grown man. I understand that people don't have any really, concern about my family, and I don't expect them to. I mean, I'm not hurt that I used my dad's name. It was just something, I'm not my dad. I'm myself. And if somebody asks me to use their name, I'm going to try to do it. I was in a hangout earlier with Thick Shades earlier, and he asked me, my name's Thick Shades, not Thick, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, fine, I'll call you what you wish. It's just something. It's called cordiality in having a discussion in hangouts, but of course. True doesn't really care much about that. He doesn't want fair dialogue. The questions he kept asking me about, new anatomic features. This is the same mantra that they've been chiming for quite some time. He basically gets it from net from free. When you don't answer his questions the way that he wants you to answer to, he thinks you're avoiding the question. Well, if you don't understand the question correctly, and you need to be explained why the question is somewhat malformed, then you have to give a person an opportunity to tell them that. And everybody tells him these things. It's not like this is me. These are, people, experts in the field that actually have told Ronnie he doesn't have a conceptualization of this material. So he asks the same questions over and over again, then surprised he doesn't get a result or getting answers. It's like asking, hey, Steve, why don't you prove to me that 1 + 1 = 3? And I say, Ronnie, 1 + 1 does not equal 3. 1 + 1 = 2. Well, Steve, prove your claim that 1 + 1 = 2 because I think you think that 1 + 1 = 3. And now I'll prove to him 1 + 1 = 2. And he'll say, well, how do you know that mathematics is correct? It's just a game with these people. They have no interest whatsoever of ever learning this stuff in any way, shape, or form correctly. And then what he'll do is he'll go on some random tangent. He'll ask you something about cell transduction or G proteins. And yeah, we've all had these things in biology. We took electron train transport. We know the Krebs cycle. We know what these proteins do in the bilipid membranes. We know that there's surface types and there's types that go all the way through. But we're not biologists for the most part. The people that know that stuff, I will defer to the experts, obviously Fiona and Sam. We have general educations in these topics. That's all that's required to have a conversation with any of these people, though. You don't have to have any expertise to engage with TrueEmpiricism or Nephilim Free or any of the Clown Car Posse because they know so little about the topic that they actually are at a kindergarten level. That is why they get them confused so easily. And when they are corrected by actual experts that know these things, such as Fiona correcting TrueEmpiricism, that DNA does not I almost said it again. DNA does not degrade in water. It does dissolve, yes. But true empiricism was saying for the longest time that it actually degrades into its constituent parts. Yeah, I mean, I messed up there again. So I mean, I can't get over that. I usually don't make mistakes like that, but shit happens, right? We all make mistakes, especially when you have 6 or 7 people all trying to get a word in edgewise, and then you're being muted and your volume's being lowered, etc., etc. So, anyways, I thought it was a good hangout to show people, in fact, true empiricism's true colors, because I've actually stood up for him before. I actually had said that I thought that if he actually got a real education, he would know this stuff pretty well. Well, I'm taking that back. I don't think true empiricism is that smart. I don't think he's that intelligent. I don't think he can learn this stuff correctly because he is so willfully deluded to accept the world and reality that he's created for himself that he will not even attempt to try to understand the material properly. And that is a sign of somebody who is not intelligent. Actually, just to talk to Thank You, Jesus. I think the other guy, Anthony, too, was actually somebody I wanted to talk to because he was actually in my hangout the other day, and he was actually pretty cool, too. I think that's his name, Anthony. If not, forgive me. I don't mean to get your name incorrect, but I believe it was Anthony or Antonio. But Thank You, Jesus. I want to put a shout out to you that I think you want to learn this stuff properly. I think you really want to know the truth. My recommendation to you is don't associate with the Clown Car Posse. Just because they have the same theological viewpoints of you doesn't mean that you're getting into bed with people that you want to get in bed with. The Clown Car Posse has been around this community for a very long time. They are known as the intellectual dregs of society. They are known as the people that refuse to actually learn this stuff to try to falsify it properly and look at science and say, hey, I think this is wrong and I'm going to demonstrate that it's wrong, because that's what actual scientists do when they think something is incorrect. They shift the burden of proof to the layperson they shift the burden of the proof to the person that is just saying that this is what the science teaches because they're lay people, and lay people don't want to actually learn this stuff correctly. So in other words, if I say that the theory of gravity, which has been around since I think 2000 and not 2000 turn of the century, it was like 1915, I believe. I think it was 1905 for the special theory of relativity, and 1915 for the general theory. But I'm not going to go look it up, so somebody can go check that out. But if I remember correctly, it's been about 100 years for the theory of gravity. So if that's been around for that long, it's not up to me to explain to true empiricism that the theory of gravity is a theory that works, that there's a evidential reason why we have the theory of gravity. I don't have to confirm it to them. I don't have to explain it to them. I don't have to show them the experiments. I don't have to do a damn thing but say true empiricism. The theory of gravity is an established theory, and gravity is a fact. That's all I need to do, because that is what it is. I'm not appealing to popularity. It's not an argument ad populum, because the scientific community is not the popular people. They're not lay people, and I'm not saying that it makes it fact as far as reality in an absolute sense. When I say that something's a scientific fact, what that means is it is a provisional, tentative position that science takes on a particular topic or issue or claim, usually relating to some type of empirical data. If I say that the biggest planet in the solar system is Jupiter, then that's a scientific fact unless we discover a new planet that's bigger than Jupiter in the solar system. It's tentative. But what people like Ronnie want to do is they say, I don't want to understand the theory of gravity. You have to convince me that it's true. You have to explain to me your evidence that the theory of gravity is what you say it is. That's a confirmed model that explains our observations of gravitational force. That's about as scientifically and intellectually deceptive as a human person can even ever get. For him to shift the burden onto another person when he refuses to learn this material correctly, so he can actually get in a position to write a paper and try to disprove the theory of gravity. And yes, I'm using gravity rather than evolution, because people understand the theory of gravity is pretty well established. It's a confirmed model. But there's no difference. There's no difference between the confirmation of the theory of gravity and the confirmation of the theory of evolution. The confirmation of the theory of gravity has been numerous experiments, has been numerous observations. We've seen positions of stars change due to gravitational bending of the light. We've seen Einstein crosses. We know that the theory of gravity models our observation. We know that gravity exists. Gravity is a fact, that it does exist. Now, when we say that evolution is a fact, what we're really saying is that evolution takes place. It is a slight category error to say evolution is a fact because evolution is not a discrete piece of information. The best way to say it is evolution is something we observed and that's a fact. However, we condense this and we just, for the sake of simplicity, say evolution is a fact, and most people understand what this is. But when you're dealing with people that are that pedantic that don't even understand the difference, they don't get when you say evolution is a fact. They don't understand it. And even though technically it isn't true, that evolution is not a fact, is a true statement because categorically it's not true because it has to do with being a very discrete piece of information. Again, a fact would be the largest planet in the solar system being Jupiter is a fact. So when we say evolution is a fact, we're just shorthand saying that evolution is observed, just like gravity is observed. If I say gravity is a fact, that doesn't mean anything. If I say gravity exists and that's a fact, that's what it means. So that's a slight a difference in what we're talking about. So going by the same analogy, if somebody went to a college and a university and said, hey, I think the theory of gravity is wrong. I don't have to explain it to you. I don't have to demonstrate that it's wrong. I don't have to falsify it. You, Mr. Professor, need to convince me that the theory of gravity is correct, that it models observation. And the professor's like, well, pay us money, pay the college money, and we'll educate you on this. We don't have to convince you. We don't care if we convince you or not. That's not what education does. Education doesn't convince somebody of anything. They make up their own choices. But it educates them on at least the correct information. And this is where we fell short tonight in True Empiricism room. When True Empiricism suggests things like he doesn't care what evolution says or what science says, and he said that numerous times, he's effectively saying that it matters not what the actual subject is that's being taught. He doesn't care. I asked him consistently, do you believe that a population of oranges can diverge and speciate into a population of non-oranges? Well, the obvious question would that be, well, no, according to evolution, that wouldn't be possible. Even Kent Hovind is fully aware of that, and which is kind of funny. You know, True, every time I see True, he kind of puts on this airs that he really doesn't know who I am. And yet I've had numerous conversations with him. I've talked to him in chat, and I tried to explain to him why he thought it was bad that he left YouTube for the billionth time, and that atheists are not his enemy. We've had conversations, both online and in written format on YouTube comment boxes. I even have a video of me being in there in one of his rooms when he had Kent Hovind in there. I also was in the hangout with him in Negation of P when they did the debate. So I don't understand this whole, well, Steve is this an atheist, guy on the block, when I'm not an atheist. And I'm not new. I've been around 3-4 years on YouTube. G-Man the other day, too, said the same thing. When Nephilim Free brought it up to him, when Nephilim Free made a video about me, he's like, this new, hotshot atheist is out there. And I'm like, Nephilim, I'm not new, and I'm not an atheist, and you've been in my room for the last year. And I've been in many rooms of G-Man's, too. I'm gonna give G-Man the benefit of the doubt, which I'm not normally ever going to do again, probably, but maybe he didn't recognize my last name. People don't hear the name McCrae, Steve McCrae, so then they hear that name, maybe they don't recognize it. But we go by icons a lot, so I will give G-Man the benefit of the doubt for that. But there's no excuse for Ronnie, because Ronnie knows exactly who I am. We've had conversations multiple times. He said after I left in the side chat, he's like, thank you for the material. I'm like, of course, Ronnie, use anything you want. I don't have any expectation that I go on these hangouts that they're not going to be obviously recorded and butchered and cut up and used for fodder. I'm quite aware of that. But we still have to do it anyways. We still have to get this information out there that shows these clown car posse are just a bunch of strokers that want to stroke each other's ego and get themselves off with each other rather than actually buckle down and open a textbook. That's one of the reasons why I want to get this video out, because I realized I made a mistake in that video, and I did say DNA doesn't dissolve in water, contrary to I know that DNA dissolves in water. I meant to say degrade. We've had this conversation with Fiona. We've had it with Dragnot. We've had it with Hogtie Champ. It was just a Freudian slip or a mistake that I made. And like I said, I actually, sorry, I had a little technical glitch there. I didn't realize the recording software I'm using only will record in 15-minute increments. So I was actually talking and not realizing I wasn't recording. Not that it really doesn't matter. Nobody's going to watch this anyways or really care what I have to say. So it makes no big difference. But I'm going to pretty much paraphrase what I was saying anyways, in regards to, my mistake as far as DNA dissolving in water, which of course it does. And I meant degrade. That do actually want to educate people on these topics, because the rest of us lay people, we enjoy talking about science and we enjoy talking about physics and biology and astronomy, and most of us have a pretty good general education as far as these topics, and even the ones that haven't had any kind of formalized training, they're pretty autodidactic, and we know these topics at least enough to discuss them on a semi-intellectual level, rather than being like fruit on the ground people. But I really want to put a shout out to the people that really know these things very well, that take the time to actually try to educate people in the correct way, things that science teaches. For example, Dr. Fiona Richardson, Hogtie Champ, MMA Artist, Rational Mind. I mean, the list is quite complete, and I certainly can't get to everybody. But those of you that do know these topics, whether you have a completed degree or not, whether you are, Jade West, I can't forget about, Jade West. The fact remains that if you have somewhat interest in science, then, you're welcome to the community. You're welcome to throw down and put your ideas out there. But these people that we are engaged with, the Clown Car Posse, that's not what they're interested in. They don't want to throw down and really talk about the topics, because they're going to shut you down every time because you're not answering the questions that in the way that they want you to. This is a recurrent theme that we see. We see it with Darwin's deity, who has a formulated script. If you don't answer his questions the way that he would like you to answer them, and you go off topic, he just thinks you're being evasive or you're not answering the question, which is exactly what was demonstrated tonight. I was answering the questions True was asking, but they were not in a way that he wanted the answer to. And this actually shows the deception that these people use. And I hate using that word because I think they're honest people as far as that they actually believe their own nonsense. I don't think True actually realizes he's manipulating people and he's actually wrong. I think that he's actually so convinced that for some reason he knows more than the experts, and yet he has the kind of the audacity to have us prove to him these things are true, which, again, we could never do. We don't prove anything. We demonstrate. He doesn't accept the evidence. Okay, great. Who cares? He'll never accept the evidence. But you know what? He's not in a position of authority to be teaching anybody. He's not the people that we need to reach out to. We need to reach out to people that actually do have an audience that people will listen to. For example, the Kent Hovinds, the Dr. Jonathan Safadis, the Jay Hall, the young Earth creationist that we had come on, and Fiona, myself, and General Han Solo, and a couple other people. We kind of destroyed his young Earth creationist arguments for about 2 hours. Those are the people, because he's actually an assistant professor. That's what's scary. So these are the people that I think need to be addressed and really attacked full force as far as them putting out bad science, because true empiricism is nominal. I mean, all he wants to be is G-Man's go-to science person, but if that's the only thing his aspirations are for, well, you know what? Let him have it. Great. He's G-Man's go-to science person. Who the fuck cares? I really want to get more, into the people that are warping the minds of these kids. And we all know a lot of the kids in the community. I'm not going to name any names for obvious reasons, but they are literally brainwashed by Hovind and his ilk and their claims. They have a hard time getting into hangouts because, of course, parents don't want them being exposed to things like the facts and the truth and actual science. But I think by reaching out to them at an early age, we can show them the chinks in the armor, so to speak, of young Earth creationism. That we can show that there are people out there like True Empiricism and G-Man and Nephilim Free and Darwin's Deity that aren't interested in actual discussion, or not interested in knowing the science correctly. As a matter of fact, again, TrueEmpiricism tonight specifically said he's not interested in what the science has to say. Okay, fair enough. Then we're not having a discussion on science anymore. If you're going to have a discussion on science, you have to talk about the science. You have to use the correct terminology. And yes, I don't remember shit about electron transport. Okay? I don't remember crap about the Krebs cycle. I don't remember that much about phospholipid membranes. Or phospholipid membranes. I don't remember cell anatomy that much. I remember shit like endoplasmic reticulums and Golgi apparatuses and crap like that, but it's not a field that I have that much interest in as far as cell biology. I'm really much more interested in the workings of the DNA and the genetics involved. Yeah, I grant that they're very similar and related, but it's just something I have more propensity to want to learn more about is genetics, not the actual cell biology. I'll leave that to people that will be doing that in their career, such as Dragnod, who's studying that very stuff like that now. He's studying electron transport chains. But this is something that unless you stay in the field, you don't remember. And just to be able to go out and pick up something off Wikipedia and regurgitate it in a hangout, dealing with cell signaling or G proteins, doesn't mean you understand the topic. And I'm not going to say that I do understand those kinds of things because I am not a PhD in biology. I don't have a degree in biology. But I have an interest in the subject. But when I want to defer to experts that do know the subject, then obviously I'll go to the experts. TrueEmpiricism won't. That's the difference. He's so arrogant to think that his layperson knowledge is more than that of the people that actually went to school and learned this. And they actually did the work. They did the hard work to get where they're at, to get that piece of paper that certifies that they do know what they're talking about. To him, that's not as important as the fact that he be right and everybody else be wrong. And be damned if he's ever going to say that, he cannot be wrong on anything, because he'll sit there and put forth all these fallacious arguments. He did it tonight. He put forth so many fallacious things that he said or called me out on fallacies that were not fallacies. He got the argument from popularity wrong. He got what was it? I don't even remember. But anyways, he kept saying that there's all these different fallacies, and I wasn't answering the question. But anyways, neither here than there. I'm going to end this video. I just want to put a quick thing out to give kind of a recapitulation of what happened in TrueEmpiricism's Hangout. I especially want to thank you, Jesus, to come into my Hangouts anytime, man. You seem like a really civil guy. This is not about theology. It is not about theist versus atheist. Matter of fact, which is kind of funny, because as you saw, even after I told him I was a agnostic, apathetic, theological, non-cognitive Mormon Jew, he still called me an atheist. So it's not really that important what you self-identify as. I don't care if you're a theist. I don't care if you're an atheist. It is nothing about theology. It is about the science. Now, if you come into my Hangout, we'll discuss why evolution is a fact and what is the evidence, because there's mountains and mountains of evidence. You go to Google Scholar and you could type in evolutionary biology and you'll find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of peer-reviewed papers that are evidential. But again, TrueEmpiricism doesn't care about that. He doesn't want to read any of them. He doesn't want to look at the evidence. He'll sit there and rather have formulations of these poorly constructed questions that are just designed to have a little gotcha game. And that's just not how science is done. He's not going to win the Nobel Prize by playing a game of gotcha and playing word games. And for him to sit around and wait by the mailbox for them to send him the Nobel Prize, which, yes, I know it doesn't work like that. But so, he basically is just saying, screw you to all the people that did the hard work. And I find it to be very disgusting. My hats off to you guys. I appreciate all your support, all the likes I've had on my videos, all the subscribers I've had, because I went from like 1 to almost 300 in a matter of just half a year or so. I think that's amazing. It's just nice to know that people do want to get involved in these subjects and talk about them. I just think we don't need to waste that much more time with people like TrueEmpiricism or G-Man or Nephilim Free or Darwin's Deity and all the people that we call the Clown Car Posse. They're just insignificant. All they want to do is ask the same rhetorical, nonsensical, malformed questions in a game of gotcha. And as you know what, we're about done with it. Let's move on. Let's actually try to reach the people we can reach. There are many people in this community that have changed their positions from young creationism. You know, Wayne Fillmore did after I think it was about a year. The General Han Solo was talking to him. Myself and other people, you know, we had our debate on macroevolution, which I thoroughly enjoyed. There's been Hunter Bailey that's changed his position from young Earth creationism. There's been C.J. Dubb that finally accepts, you know, parts of evolutionary theory. We all know there's people we can reach. So I think we just need to tone down the rhetoric. We need to stop going to these guys' rooms. Yes, I'm a hypocrite because I went into TrueEmpiricism room tonight, but I was asked to by a couple members in there. And Anthony actually had asked me, and he seemed like a decent enough guy. And I was like, okay, I already know going in I'm gonna get muted and booted and talked over and talked down and treated pretty piss poorly. Not a big big surprise there. You know, it was something that was expected. So, but he asked me to, and I just wanted them to see what happens when a person who goes in there with honest intent to have a discussion, how they get treated by empiricism. So, anyways, I'm going to end this video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all your subs, all your likes. Please let me know your feedback on this video and any other of my videos that you guys have watched. I just wanted today on the Fruit on the Ground Creationist Part 4, Westcott Downs, that I thought was pretty good. It didn't come out exactly the way I had originally intended, but it was decent enough. So anyways, my friends, thank you very much, and I will bid you good night.